Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Infinite Cup podcast. I am your host, Robert Breton. Now, today I have Bianca, aka OrangeHealia. She is an incredible, talented woman that is an iridologist, raw vegan, for almost 30 years now. She is 46 years old, absolutely stunning, amazing woman, full of knowledge. Wanted to bring her back on the show to talk about this current pandemic and what's going on with the second wave and how to really be healthy in this toxic world. You know, there's a lot going on when it comes to understanding nutrition. We go deep into alkalinity. She talks about her story a little bit and how to really combine all of this information into just have a happy, healthy life. Thank you all for being here. Seriously, so much gratitude for just coming on the show. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Wherever you're downloading this episode, thank you so much for leaving a review and just liking and commenting on all the videos and posts. I seriously appreciate each and every one of you for following me. And if you want to get a little discount for some barley grass juice powder, check out Daily Green Boost. Use the Infinite Cup discount code to save 10% off. This is my favorite barley grass juice powder. I use it in the medical medium recipes. I use it in the detox smoothies. It's just my favorite green powder, honestly. So check it out at dailygreenboost.com. Use the Infinite Cup to save 10%. All right, guys, without any further ado, let's dive right into this one with OrangeHealia and Bianca and I going heart to heart about detoxification and all things health and wellness.
We're really all one. The one thing that it really bothers me, like that you have all these people that are awake, all these people that get it, all these people that understand what's going on. And then on the other side, it's just people who are really like, you know, you kind of have to cut it off. And you just, if you don't want to get into fights, you really have to like just say, okay,
you do.
You know, and it's
time.
hard.
It is.
It's hard because it's always the challenge. You want to be the good person. You want to be this positive person, but these forces, negative forces are so strong sometimes. I'm like,
they are.
How can I explain somebody in 5 minutes what we know, what we feel, what do we understand?
Yeah.
You know, that this time it could be going into wrong direction, but we can steer it into the right direction, right? With all this positive thinking and positive attitude.
That's what it's all about. I mean, that's what I feel, you know, called to do more than ever. And that's why I had to, you know, get rid of my own problems and fears and just embrace technology and embrace all of the stuff that we're doing to get this message out there. You know, that's a big reason why I wanted to have you on the show again, because I feel like, you know, you're one of the few people that just get it, you know, and I don't have to go through all of that, you know, proving or defending in order to just talk about nutrition or health, you know, and it's something that I think a lot of people are, you know, in that seeking phase, which is beautiful. At the same time, like you said, I get a lot of that defensive argument stuff too. And I just feel a major calling to help debunk a lot of that and help just demystify a lot of the stuff that has just been really, you know, brainwashing people for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, we're fighting huge corporations that have billions, they invest trillions, you know, like for this 5G technology. And I have nothing against 5G, but just put it on the optical cables, you know, don't have it like a wireless that we expose everybody to, you know, to this radiation. I mean, I understand, like we do want fast internet. We want technology to move. We want like some kind of artificial intelligence. I mean, I'm more like, I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. You know what I mean? I'm very pro tech. You know, my dad has come from a scientific background, you know, like my mom is, we're very like pro tech. We're very like open-minded about this stuff. But at the same time, the balance, you know, if you have a technology should serve the people and should serve the nature And I think we have to come up with a new, better green technology, that will help all earthlings, not just humans, that will help all plants, that will not destroy everything. I feel almost like we're like on the path of self-destruction, and we're just trying to prevent that. But then you have like these big companies with billion dollars and euros and yens or whatever, investing into technologies that are not good for us. They're not tested. They haven't done anything about it, to test it properly. And they're just filling us, like they're paying media and everybody just to convince us, oh, don't worry, it's nothing bad. But on the other hand, they're threatening us with this second wave that freaks me out the most. What is the second wave? What are you talking about? If everybody goes in the summer outside and we all get infected, we protect the ones that are, the most vulnerable, like this virus, everybody has to have it, get over it. 99% of people will be fine, and just move forward. What second wave? From what? Are you talking about the radiation? When they activate satellites, right?
It's all of it. It's all connected. It's all connected. Every little bit. I mean, I could talk for hours and hours about this. It's all connected, from the nutrition, the technologies that are creating the monopolies and the organizations and the corporations that all keep everything in control, from the food to the air to, yes, this second wave to everything that's going on with coronavirus has everything to do with it, to keep people sick so they can sell the drugs and keep the whole circle flowing. And that corporate pharmaceutical giant is way bigger than I think anybody can imagine. And I'm very thankful for people like yourself that are just practicing, iridology and these simple things that I think are so amazing. And yet that energy is being pushed away, like the light has to come through eventually, but the darkness is just fighting 24/7, and even more so. So yes, that's what the second wave is all about, keeping people in fear. It's just that simple. And nutrition is a big part of that. And people that don't even understand, I made a post the other day just about alkalinity and fruit, and people are under the impression, right, that homeostasis just happens in the body. You can drink Pepsi and Coke and whatever you want all day, and somehow your body can just change the pH magically for you and you're going to be fine. I'm just talking, the normal, human standard consciousness right now is very low, and people are keeping it very low for a reason, so people can be controlled, right? And
you can notice, sorry to interrupt you, but you can notice like nobody's talking about eat healthy, go outside in nature, move your bodies, make sure you get enough sun, make sure you get enough, sea, swimming in the sea, and like all these other things. I mean, all they focused about is creating this fear, and that is supporting basically totally failed medical system, globally failed medical system that we have, sponsored by for 100 years, basically by Rockefeller, right? Like if you think about it. And you're right. I mean, the earth is depleted. Everything, things are poisoned and stuff. But at the same time, if we can take control in our own hands, this is where it starts. It starts what you put inside of you, because this is going to be the building blocks of every cell in your body. And this is how we can fight. Each one of us can fight to basically take down the current status quo that corporations are creating, and the current, this, like you said, I mean, if you look at it, I think like every generation, last 30 years or even 50 years, it's going to live shorter lives, and it's going to be living, it's not about shorter life only. It's going to live their lives dependent on, medical system that it's, giving them drugs and, destroying their well-being in a way, also like prosperity. They can't live high quality life, because if you get a cancer, $100,000, you're destroyed. If you're not like a wealthy person.
Oh, exactly. And that's where they want you to stay. You know what I mean? That's where they want all the sheep to corral into that funnel, and that's statistically, that's what's happening. If it's not that, it's Alzheimer's or some other, form of cancer, but that's the most common thing, right? Or heart disease being the leading cause. I agree with you. And that's what we need to kind of start fresh, right? There's just a big misunderstanding. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, that even have, medical degrees or certain things, things with that power attitude and that people are listening to them because of that degree or whatever information that they have, unfortunately, that system itself has failed them. So, that's where I really want to start with you. It's like, where do people, start? Like that somebody, is just coming onto this, they know that their diet is bad. They know that, chemtrails exist and the Rockefellers own more than they can imagine. They want to do something about it, right? Like, is it, fruit? Do they just need to eat more fruit? What would you recommend for that?
Well, it depends in what stage their body is, right? If they're not really ill at the moment, I think only like wholesome plant-based diet will do it, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have any problems. But as you know, we're basically born with the problems. Every generation of babies, as we're noticing, have more problems, if nothing else, allergies, and not to talk about vaccinations and all this stuff, because this is a very controversial topic.
Oh, that's
So
good.
we can talk about this like, for hours and hours and hours as well. But like you tell me, putting chemicals, we're trying to strive not to eat chemicals, but then we shoot chemicals in an innocent little baby that doesn't have developed immunity system. And you know what, it's funny, because when I'm basically, I grew up in like kind of like an atheist agnostic family. My family is very pro science, like you can call us even liberals. We're very open-minded about everything. Like I was never like even taught about racism, and I don't even look at the people on the basis of color. I really want to just get to know people, and more interesting they are, more different they are from me, more I'm excited to get to know them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand racism at all, but maybe because I was brought up also without speciesism. My mom was always telling me, oh, don't kill the spider. Don't kill the spider. They bring luck. You can't kill the spider. Oh, no. Yeah, well, yeah, there's, they're what are mosquitoes, because we live next to like a water source. Yeah. But at the same time, my mom worked all the time. My dad worked all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I took care of myself a lot, even as a child. This was kind of normal in ex-Yugoslavia. Yeah. But one thing that we did have, everybody in my home country would grow their own food. And this is where it starts. Yeah. If you can grow like some herbs on a balcony or inside your house, like I think this is also one way for us to keep ourselves healthy, because we know the source of that. And of course, if everything goes to hell, at least you have something to eat. If you have like an even little patch of, something. Yeah. So this is where it comes to, me moving from Europe, from Slovenia to big country, like land of dreams and very innovative, amazing people like USA is, New York, for instance. One thing that I noticed, even going to Long Island and around everywhere, I noticed people don't have really gardens. Yeah. Like that was to me a shock. Like they have big areas, they have bigger, land around their houses, but nobody's actually taking care of that earth like that they would actually grow something. No greenhouses, nothing, right? Yeah. So this was a major difference. And then another difference, like in my country, in Slovenia, educated people, traditionally educated, this is relatively, right? Yeah. And so traditionally educated people that are basically on the more in the left or central are against vaccinations, and then I come to US and I figure out that basically Democrats were, as a political party, are freaked out by me because I'm saying, no, I don't think that vaccinations work, because we're not healthy because of it. Exactly. Long-term looking at this, we're not healthy. It's not, something's not working. Sorry. Why are you doing something that doesn't work, that is harming people? So this was really like an interesting point, like where, right now in Slovenia, people are basically protesting against 5G, protesting against vaccinations, mandatory vaccinations. It's like war going on over there. Yes. But here in Spain, I have to tell you, it's a very different attitude. Mm-hmm. It's very so like all of a sudden Catalonia, which is basically when fighting against, the dominance of Spanish government for a very long time, if you know a little bit, political events here, it's all of a sudden super submissive, masks. And I'm watching people driving on a bike, they have masks on. Yeah. Like, what? And it's sun. It's sun. UV rays are going to kill this virus or whatever that is, Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, everybody's on the beach. It's crowded and police is driving around and they just can't do anything. It's just too much people. What are you going to lock up like 500,000 people that are chilling on the beach and playing, Yeah. So it's really, you should have seen this. Like today we went on the beach and I was thinking like, why you even have police here? You know, like,
Yeah.
okay, you know, it was getting really crowded. Okay. And imagine now the tourists will come from
Yeah.
European Union. We have now, it opens up on 1st of July. So
Mhm.
the tourists can come. I was like, where are you going to put people?
Yeah.
It was like sardine cans. Everybody was next to each other on the beach, you know, and I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I know that water, you know, the sea water, the sea air, all this blasting sun, no chance. Goodbye viruses or whatever. And honestly, personally, I do not believe so much into the theory of viruses and bacteria as I believe in theory of like terrain, keeping your body strong, healthy, and you know, they can do whatever they want. You know, as long as they don't inject you with something nasty, you're fine. Your body, your immunity will handle this. So look, to go back to the diet, right? Because you asked me before. So I think a wholesome plant-based diet is wonderful because in the animals, not only that you have the suffering, bad karma and all this stuff, you also have like heavy metals in fish, for instance. You have like plastic particles, drugs, you know, antibiotic and so on. And like, you just cannot tell where these animals come from, if they suffered, like all this stuff, we can't say anything, right? And it's, for me, is important to move that away. Just, you know, and it's also in animals, you have like collecting all these poisonous things. And I'm not saying fruits and vegetables are like, they have no pesticide, they have no, that's not true, right? It's also, you know, modified by people and made basically poisonous in some way. But animals really get the worst. They really eat the worst, they get the worst, and not to talk about like the suffering and the pain. And what happened in Canada, I have to tell you, I first, you know, this anti-ag, you know, that they can like go and, you know, be witnesses even to these animals suffering at the end. First of all, I was like shocked. This is first world country. What are you hiding? Why do you have to have a law protecting from people showing the suffering of the animals? What are you doing with these animals in industrial farms? You really think people, like, I don't understand, people really want to eat that if they're hiding what they're doing with that, cutting out the tumors and all the illnesses these poor suffering animals have. Also, animals are getting sicker and sicker, not only humans. You know what I mean?
We're all on the same earth. We're all on the same terrain. There can only be so much. And as the population increases, and that's the general thing. The agriculture system, the way that they're raising the animals, and as long as we continue the way that we live right now, that's just not going to work, you know, and that's what we're all about here, is something, you know, sustainable. And it's
sustainable. It's going to collapse on us.
It's going to collapse eventually. And that's what I think too. It's like people don't understand that the current way that the system is just isn't going to work on all levels, whether it's the health system, the political system, things, you know, don't work. My solution, without getting, you know, all fear-based and getting just upset about everything, is circling back to the small communities. You know, it has to change from your own individual power first. And, you know, veganism is a great place to start, and just saying, hey, I'm no longer going to be a part of the violence. I want to be healthy. I want to have more energy. I want to help my family. And then you start with yourself and you move from there. And that's been, you know, what I've seen in my life, you know, 10, 15 years ago now, which is amazing, seeing this progression and it becoming more, you know, socially acceptable, and, you know, more plant-based food options. All of that is wonderful. The bigger point I just want to connect to is just the system itself and how we treat everything is just not working. And that's why the numbers that we see are what they are, including, you know, the coronavirus and all the just stuff that goes on in hospitals in general. I kind of lump it all in together because there's no solution there, right? If you go in with something, you're actually going to get worse in there. It's not something that you can actually get better at, including the food that they give you, including all the prescriptions. Everything is coming from that chemical-based side of life, and it's just not going to happen. We need to swap over to nature and a more, you know, alkaline side of life. That's how I correlate everything, and that's the general message, you know, for someone who, you know, has never heard that word. What would you say? Like how to explain that to somebody? Because they think lemons, right, and citrus in general is acidic, right? So I get that all the time. I know you do too. So where do we go?
Let's go now. Let's go. Like, let's say somebody has been eating bad diet for a very long time, and also other factors. I mean, in my OrangeHealia, one of the videos on OrangeHealia channel, you know, I actually talk about like 6 things that you can change to prevent having cancer or also reverse the cancer, right? So these 6 things, one is diet, and that is the biggest biggest reason why our whole thing system goes bad the fastest. And alkaline, it means something that has higher energy, something that will create like a calming down, anti-inflammatory, effect in your body, against something that is acidic, which of course is corrosive. It's going to destroy the cells and so on. So alkaline are the most beautiful food that we have on our planet, that it's created actually to heal us naturally. It's fruits, right? Fruit is definitely like on the top because it has the highest conscious. It's the most non-violent food that we can get. And on top of it, it's very astringent, and something simple as that we digest fruits in about 30 minutes to 1 hour. And then if you look at the meat or dairy, we digest that in 1 day, 2 days. That tells you this, we're not supposed to eat that, right? This is our original diet from the tropical areas where we came from. Of course, we have to adjust this because we're living in the colder climates, and that's how our brain developed, that because we stopped being, nomads, we became actually, started growing our own stuff. But now we have technology that also in the cold climates, I don't know if you've seen, there's like tons of families in Sweden that are turning basically around their house, they're building greenhouses and growing stuff like we're growing here in Mediterranean kind of, the climate. So it's possible. All we need to do is like use our brain and create something like that, and it's going to feed us. But on the other hand, like, okay, so let's go back to the alkaline, and fruits. What we're seeing that people don't understand, we're not cats who are really good carnivores, right? Like, for instance, cat eats little meat, and 10 minutes later poops it out and gets all the nutrition in those 10 minutes from that meat. But that's not the case with us. We're on the opposite side. And I believe we're the most nonviolent being on the planet. We want to, in order to evolve, we have to stop hurting other earthlings. There's no way around it. We cannot thrive if other people and other animals and plants suffer. We can only thrive if we are lifting up this energy with everybody, right? And when it comes to fruits, you have like, first of all, I think there's some kind of statistics that basically we can, if everybody goes plant-based, that we can basically feed 42 billion people. That's one thing without a problem. Nobody's going to starve, right? And then if we go on the fruits, imagine, because the tree has like leads way less than, for instance, grains or anything like that, and also it's more non-violent. You can, I think, get even like to double that, right? You can feed even more because you pick the tree, you don't even destroy the plant. You just, it's going to grow back. So this is something that like people have to understand, that that first of all, your digestion, how you process something, will tell you already answer. Yes, eat fruits. For instance, vegetables, because a lot of plant-based, vegans, right? They think that we're herbivores, but we're not. Like, if you see, and like outside, you go outside and you see a field of oats, good luck with eating that. You know what I mean? Cow will come and munch away everything, or like a horse, and you're just like, okay, I might break my teeth if I start, nobbling.
You're not going to start salivating as soon as you get into that open field. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And even less, like you hit, you drive and you hit like a poor rabbit or something like that, and you're going to come out and say, oh, wow, what a nice dinner. You're going to say, oh no, what have I done? You're going to cry and try and help this rabbit, and like the kids are definitely going to cry. So this tells you we're like totally made, to be compassionate, to be kind. And I believe also what is happening is, again, this whole food system, right, is failing us because people don't connect like this pieces of, body corpses, basically steaks and all this stuff, in the stores, in the plastic wrapped. So they don't even know, like they think it's like it came from somewhere, if you would put like just a picture of the animal on there, or like a little video we can attach everywhere, how this meat came to your place, you would probably say, I don't want that.
Very true.
I don't know, like in India, like there was this lady who married the Indian guy, and they went in India food shopping. And this is first time, she's from US, and this is first time that she ever saw like a real like market in India. So, and then they go and, you know, she sees all these fruits and vegetables, like, oh, wow, so beautiful, so colorful, amazing. And then there's in the back, like a little house, you know, with little like air coming through. And her husband says like, okay, so for dinner, you want, this is good. You don't want anything else. She's like, no, I want chicken. Oh, okay. So they go to that little house, go inside, and there's living chickens in the cages everywhere. And what they make you do, you point out the chicken you want to kill, and they do it right in front of you. And then they give you, okay, now take it home and eat it. And you know what happened to this lady? She freaked out. She never wanted to eat meat again.
Good. Yeah.
You know? And this, if that would be the case in the shops, all over US, people. All over Europe, all over the first world countries and the second world countries. I mean, honestly, like China and so on, like something about their mentality is maybe a little bit different. So I'm not going to go into that, you know, like they raise differently. But if, for instance, if you look at like you and like I look at like in general, like Europeans, Americans, so on, you see they're not able to do that. They're not able to say, okay, kill this animal for me. And they do it right in front of them. They would be probably vomiting.
Yeah, it's all the programming. It's the people that have, you know, in their belief systems, whether it's religious, whether it's, you know, their parents or deeper, you know, that told them that was okay. My point is the natural state of human beings would not accept that level of violence or anything, any sort of harm. So all of that is programmed into us, like you mentioned with the kids. Any sort of kid that hasn't been told that would obviously be shocked by it until they are, you know, programmed to believe otherwise. So our natural state is very nonviolent and peaceful and blissful, and all of these what I would call normal experiences are covered up with our programming into our, you know, normal society that we get kind of forced into. And that's a lot of the work that we have to undo just to kind of get back to balance. You know.
I mean, it's going to take a lot of work. Honestly, it's going to take a lot of work, but I can tell you, oops, we got a little bit disconnected. I managed to convince my dad, okay, like, you know, that I'm like pretty much plant-based. I'm vegan, actually. I'm ethical vegan. I was also animal activist before in my 20s and my 30s, you know. Now at 46, I'm not so much, I don't have so much energy to run around and scream and stuff, but I still do it sometimes. But I have to tell you, like, I managed to talk to my mom. She's plant-based, you know, and even ethical vegan. You know, my husband is actually high fruit, like myself, you know, because we believe that is optimum for us. It's working wonderful also for athletic. You know, he is basically like one of those corporate guys, financial guys who goes into this regular job and he's very athletic. He's, you know, always competing with triathlon. And this is actually, I made an interview with him. So, and it works out with him too, you know. You don't have to be like, you know, just, you know, living off YouTube channels, or, you know, like, I don't know, just, you know, being like just, you know, off grid, right? You can actually incorporate this kind of diet also in some kind of like different lifestyle. And this is what we're also trying to do, you know, that you don't have to stay at home and have your own business. You can also go for work for big corporations and still, and he actually encouraged other people to eat a lot more fruit. Like, for instance, he told, you know, he has a nice office, right? And people come to him, you know, that work with him and his team. And, you know, he has always some kind of watermelons, some kind of bananas over there. And like at some point, somebody came in when he basically just sliced up the whole watermelon, you know, and the lady comes in and is like, oh, are you going to eat all of that? And he says like, sure, yeah, why not? I was like, how can you eat anything else? Well, I manage, you know. So, you know, there is a way, you know, you get all these people, you know, they kind of start to like him because of that, because he's different, because he's like, you know, and he's always in a good mood, you know, he's, you know, he always is very kind to everybody. And I believe that when you're a good example, people will follow. They will learn from you. They will adjust their own eating habits and how they go about all kinds of things, you know. And I got to tell you, Europe is very open about this, you know, like even Germany, that is very closed, I would say, in like Scandinavia, are really like more and more plant-based eating people. And the problem is, if the people are only about the health, you know, then we have a little bit harder a way of keeping them aligned with that, you know, because once they get like a healing crisis, you know, after a month, once they get off, their adrenals start healing, where kidneys start to heal. And of course you have the detox symptoms. They're all like, oh no, this vegan diet is killing me. It's doing something bad to me. You know? But if you actually explain, if they're aware of that, we have to educate them about this, right? I believe they actually are fine with it. They go along with it. And, you know, if we show them about animal cruelty, if you show them some Gary Yourofsky video, if you show them like Melanie, you know, and like all these like people who are really explaining the ethical reasons and the ethics behind it, like the Earthlings, you know, documentary, you see this once and you're done, you know, like it's, you know, it's, you know, you cry all the time while they're watching the Earthlings. And if people see that and you turn them into more ethical vegans, you know, like really with the heart, you will see way longer way. Like, you know, for me now, 28 and a half years, I haven't touched anything from animals, at least not on purpose, right? Like when I was young, you know, they tried to mess with me. And I was also victim of bullying and violence and all kinds of stuff, you know, just because I just don't want to harm animals, because this is how people are attached to their, you know, cultural thing.
It is.
It's just sad.
We're going against the grain pretty hard, you know, and we have to do that work. And it's not the majority by any means. And a lot of the plant-based stuff is beginning, and it's wonderful to see it all happen. We still have a lot of work to do, and I see that every day, you know, just with social media, because, you know, it tells me really where the standard, you know, consciousness is at for just the world, you know, and it's very much in that, you know, place still where it's very meat consumption. And what's happening is the vibration, you know, the energy is coming through the earth. We are in this ascending age. We're all waking up, and the veganism is a big part of that, because people can no longer tolerate what's happening on the planet, and you have to do something about it. And that's one of the things that you can do on your own right there. You know, that's like a form of protesting just in itself. You know, you're telling the world.
It's easy to do. And, you know, if you remove the speciesism, you're going to remove the sexism, you're going to remove the racism, you're going to remove all these isms, you know, very easily.
Exactly.
Because like we spoke before, if you have hard time hurting ant and you feel bad about it if you step on the ant by coincidence, how you really think I'm able to do anything to a human being and kind of, you know, God forbid, kill them even, or hurt them or damage them in any ways? No. And for me, it's like, you know, I would hope that people would kind of start to understand that there is, if you do good, you will get good back. It might not be directly connected. And I watch your videos and you talk about affirmations and those positivity, you know, like how you attract with positive. One thing that when you're eating fruit, for instance, because your vibration is higher, the negative people, the negativity, the bad stuff will go out of your life. And it might be a hard transition, because you will lose a lot of friends, you know, like a lot of friends, you might lose all kinds of things. But at the same time, you start to attract positive people, high vibrational events, high vibrational things that happen to you. Let it be work, let it be, you know, anything else.
Exactly.
This is I think, like my husband is taking the dogs out for a walk. Can you say hi? Come and say hi. He got a little bit tan today on the beach. Come and say hi.
There's the athlete. Hello.
How are you?
Doing good. Hey, puppy.
This is basically we're like one of those people when we see like an animal in need on the street, you know, that's when we he's showing me. We basically picked him up. Somebody ran over him. He didn't have any fur, and he had fleas all over the place, and he had like a broken rib and like a wire in his neck. And we didn't know what it is even. Like it looked on the street like it could be wild animal, because without the hair, you don't really recognize it, you know, like a big rat almost, right? And we picked him up, went to the vet directly, and he said like 50-50 that he's going to survive. He is actually 40 years old now.
Wow.
And then we have like another rescue from the street. She was 6 kilo, now she's 22 kilo, a pit bull. And she's gorgeous. Oh my God. Like, he's taking them out for bathroom. I mean, I have to tell you, these dogs are basically 50% of my health too. You know, beside the fruits, going to nature for hiking, you know, then there's something, they have something. I mean, all animals have that. They have this special energy, and it's also like they can focus on them now. You know, they don't think about the past, they don't think about the future, and they teach you. They're like a little connection with the nature. So when I walk around, I learned how to observe them, to kind of stop overthinking things and constantly being on the phone. And I start to look at the birds, I start to look at the little, look at this pine tree, has like really nice growth, from the 3 months ago. And I focus on things like that. And I have to tell you, like, the energy level, like how much better I feel after these walks, how grateful I am for everything what actually matter. These physical things, it's nice to have a nice couch, it's nice to have like nice things, but at the same time, I think I would be just happy like living somewhere outside in a cave if I could. But we're part of this whole matrix, this whole thing, like even when I think about it, what it takes to build a house, like what we live in, what it takes to build, I don't know, this chair over here. And yes, I got this, like, it's handmade in France with like, sustainable forests and stuff. Took me 1 year to find all this furniture because, you know what I mean? I wanted to really be toxin free. I wanted to be, handmade locally and so on, and natural materials. But at the same time, like, these are just things. These things don't make me happy. They make me comfortable, but they don't really make me happy. What makes me happy is this one walk that I have per day, when I see how beautiful nature is, when I see from far the ocean, when I see, people smiling, and this community that we're part of, like when you have these gatherings that we eat all fruits and it's such a positive energy. It's like everybody's happy, everybody's like this weight of like being part of this massive violence that, for instance, animal agriculture is. It's just when you release that, then the life becomes so beautiful.
True.
Yeah, and then you attract also this positivity and everything on you. And like it's the same when when the vegan diets fail. It's most of the time I'm noticing because people do extremes when they don't need them. If you don't have cancer, please, there's no need for you to go on water fast for a whole month. You can do it if you like it, but most likely you don't need to do this. You don't need to force something that is unnatural to you. Just eat fruits, and we're so also programmed to expect some kind of overnight effects, but this whole, if you're very ill and you need to heal yourself, and fruits, natural way is the best way, of course, but it takes time, because if you're destroying your body for 30 years, you cannot expect overnight to have all of a sudden to be super energetic and super, no pain,
exactly.
no nothing, right?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's a really important thing. I don't think people understand that at all. It's like the things that you had when you were a kid, the toxicity or even the vaccines, a lot of that stuff is still in your body, and I don't think people are connecting those dots, and it doesn't go away even through one little 10-day detox or a 30-day fast or anything like that. This is more of a lifestyle, more of something where we're getting rid of that programmed way of life that is in the acid chemistry, which is very corrosive, and we are now expanding and getting back into nature. So it's happening on many levels, like we mentioned, where people are connecting those dots. And I think if you can take control over that food that you eat and get back into that rhythm with nature, then all the other light bulbs start to turn on as well. And you start really paying attention, like what you were saying, to the materialism or just what brings you simple joy and happiness. Like your priorities start to change, right? And that's the thing that I just I'm still going to preach every day, no matter what, because that's what changed my life. I know it did for you too. And as soon as you want as soon as you have that shift within yourself, all you want to do is share it with other people and have them come on board too.
And like honestly, like everything you do is so crucial. I cannot tell you this, the topics you're discussing about, you actually have meaningful topics that you talk about, even in your channel and Instagram and everywhere, in social media. I mean, yes, we are dependent on this technology, but at the same time, I believe like somehow we got to get the word out. And this is the only way now. Yes, I talk to my neighbors, they get encouraged to eat less meat and all this stuff. But at the same time, like online activism is such a huge part of, our lifestyle now. I feel that we can actually access way more people that way than if we're going to go and march on the streets and, yell and so on. Like,
I agree.
I try to really like talk to all my friends are basically plant-based now, if not completely vegan. Like my family, even extended family, even my husband's family is changing, like for instance, his brother and his wife saw the Game Changers, and they're like, and they're like, okay, now finally we understand what the heck are the two of you doing, right? To us, right? And they came actually to visit us, and I believe they're going really good. They're doing really well, and they understand all this stuff. But for instance, like, while my husband is very ethical vegan, he's about the animals because he watched a lot of Gary Yourofsky. I think basically that's it, and Earthlings and so on. Like his brother, because he's an athlete, he's actually running the Spartan race,
Nice. Mm-hmm.
So and he wanted to like, well, how I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. My life depends on this, that I have muscles, that I'm strong, that and changing to plant-based diet. And basically Charlie gave him like my husband gave him really good advice and all this stuff, and explained to him, okay, this is where you should put more in, how to get calories, how to get this. I mean, there is a way around it, but for him was not important animals, right? For him was more about like his own health, his own performance. Exactly. And I think every person, you got to approach them like that way, like kind of adjust your message. For me, sometimes I just don't get it. How can you not understand harming other earthlings?
Yes, totally. And that's something, it has to come from within, at the intention of this podcast, or just everything that I, put out there in the content on the digital world, is to plant those seeds of change, right? I have no expectations. The only thing I'm doing is planting those seeds, and hopefully one day they will be watered with their own actions, then will eventually become fruit that they can harvest and reap for themselves. Because that's the only intention here. Because the first couple of years, especially being vegan police, and you're just angry at the world, and you just want to get your message out there. It's wonderful, and I learned so much. At the end of the day, though, you really have to be authentic in your own ways, and then you having that natural energy and you just being happy as a person will be very contagious, and other people will start asking you what you're doing and how do you look so good, or why don't you have this level of pain in your back, or whatever is going on. Because I'm 32 now. As my family starts to get old, I'm not judging any of them. I'm just saying everybody's getting bigger, right? Everybody has these problems. Everybody has this normal thing that they consider as normal, and I just don't. I'm like, okay, that's not normal for me. I actually am just going to go have this juice instead, or go do this thing and just keep doing my radical thing and keep being me, I guess. Because I'm very thankful, like myself too. My family is slowly turning, and they've started juicing and doing things and getting, oh my gosh, my mom is doing way better. My stepdad's doing way better. The whole point though that I'm getting to is still the programming, right? It's like my mom is like me. She can let go a lot easier than my stepdad, who's got that hard head, So I'm just saying all of this is beautiful to watch it happen within my own family. And then, the people that I'm coaching, the people that I see on social media, all the questions that I get, direct messages, everything that's working. And you have to meet people where they're at. So there is no, blanket statement, or no recipe, or no, smoothie or anything like that can really, is a cure-all. It's really on.
There's no people, like we were saying, that they want some kind of, but it's also like there's no even one plant or one magic mushroom or one, it's a process, right? That you are restoring all your cells, and basically it takes 7 years to change all of your cells, right? So if they're damaged, if they have this violent program in them, so 7 years, I gotta tell you, for me it's like no way back. And then another thing, I went to my high school reunion. I mean, we're now like, born 1974, this is like 70, and I get together with them, and I'm in shock. I mean, I aged. I do have some stuff, I do, like, I'm not like this sexy little thing that I used to be, At the same time, like, I'm almost shocked because these people, most of them, they look like old to me. And then you look in the pictures of us and you see like, what happened to me? Like, am I like, Benjamin Button or whatever? But no, of course not. Of course I see that I'm aging, but at the same time, how much you basically reverse that with alkaline diet, with, being connected with the nature, doing things that you love. that we're passionate about. That helps too, of course.
Oh yeah.
And also eliminating the suffering. What you do, you eliminate in everything you do suffering. And yes, I got to tell you, I'm stubborn. I'm very passionate about animal rights, which sometimes harms me more than helps me. But eventually I see people, I had basically on YouTube, one lady send me death threats. She got so upset with me and all this stuff. And believe it or not, 7 years later, this same lady, now a little bit older, of course, writes me, you won't believe it, I'm actually ethical vegan. You convinced me. It took me a while. Yeah. You know what I mean? But this is, like you said, planting seeds, and then hoping they will grow into beautiful tree with a fruit they will eat and like me.
Yes, that's so beautiful.
Yes, that is amazing. It's happening. You know, that's what keeps us going. It happens every day. The hate, the controversy, it's real because of that level of programming, you know, that's out there. And as, you know, we're waking up as a collective, you know, conscious, there is those entities, you know, the corporations, the Rockefellers, whatever label you want to put on it, that is fighting against it, you know? So it's real, you know, the money that is supporting all the farms, all that stuff. I mean, if none of that was there, the world would be vegan and it would be peaceful right now, you know? It's just, there is, you know, oh yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Gates, just that 1%. I call it the 1%. You know, we don't have to get too crazy into the conspiracy theories. I'm just saying, you know, Bill Gates, the Rockefellers, people who own 5G, political, whatever. If you trace all of that back, it's all connected. So it's all correlated. Whether you want to start talking about 5G and then end up with being vegan, it doesn't matter. They are all collectively, you know, keeping everybody in control. So at the end of the day, you have to free yourself. You know, at the end of the day, people that are preaching, you know, meat and bacon is good for you or whatever, it's like you're not winning in that situation. Like, you're not benefiting. You know what I mean? Like, not only is the animal, the sentient being, life at risk and literally going away through your decision there, it's just there's no benefit nutritionally, ethically, environmentally. Like, there's no point as far as what you're gaining from that besides that, like, ego boost, you know? So at the end of the day, that's all I see. And there's no judgment here. At the end of the day, I just know that that person, hopefully just like the person you're mentioning that gave you the death threats, is going to come back to this full circle. You know, like myself, even when I was in high school and stuff, my first girlfriend was vegetarian, and I made fun of her for being vegetarian and stuff, and here I am completely way past vegetarian, and it's something that I look back on that all the day. Yes, very good seed. Good seeds. Yes, very good gardener. And that, along with just my own suffering and my own aspiration, you know, to want to change the world, that is just all it takes, you know. And I think everybody has that within them. It's just they are being blocked by this, you know, this darkness, this fear, this plague, this, you know, toxicity, whatever you want to call it, that's being created by that elite, you know, ism that's happening all over the world right now. So we need to take back what's ours. Yeah.
100%. And you know, a lot of people like look at me and how I live now, and they think like, oh, she's been living like this, you know. They can't imagine. I have to tell you, I faced Balkan War, okay, in ex-Yugoslavia, and seen things that no person should have seen. I ended up, you know, my family ended up without anything. Luckily I was a very good student, got in Oxford, you know, learned my English, then finished up in Amsterdam, then visited Australia, and then finished in New York City, where my whole life collapsed after I lost my son after 9/11 poisoning, you know. And after that, I finished up pretty much almost on the street, you know, without no money, nothing. And just imagine, like, I feel that me being like a, you know, vegan person, just believing that if you do good to everybody, that you eventually will return, just kept me going. I mean, of course I was working hard, of course I did all the schooling and everything, you know, being overachiever, but in the back of my mind it was always something like, you think you're suffering? You do not suffer. Go and look at the industrial farms and see how those animals suffer, and stop complaining, put your butt out there, you know, go and work your ass up. You know what I mean? It was always this in the back of my mind, telling me I can go make my dreams come true, do everything I want, you know, and prove that you also get my message out there, that this way of thinking, this way of eating, this way of living, this lifestyle can be successful. You will get your dreams come true. Same thing as you're doing, like, when you started and where you're here, and you have this beautiful baby and this beautiful wife and this amazing life in Hawaii. I mean, like, I'm so happy for you, truly. You deserve it more than ever. And you're going places, my man. I can tell,
It's beautiful. It's just, the process has been amazing. And I had to do that work too. Same for me. This didn't happen overnight, and I had a lot of things to really clear through my own problems and fears in order to just be able to do what I do now. So yes, I get a lot of that stuff too. And a lot of people just want to, make their own assumptions, and they're just simply not true, and that's on them for them to figure out. I have no judgment there. It's all karma. So yeah, this has just been amazing. I just want to wrap it up a little bit, and can you give anybody any, like I said, that's somebody that's coming on board? I know we could just get a lot of seekers, right? That people that are just now starting out veganism, they're just getting into detoxing, they're not quite ready for iridology or anything on that level, but they are ready to simply be happy and be healthy, and they are doing something about it. The simple things that I think people understand, as far as cutting out processed foods and just eating more fruit, all of that is wonderful. But just anything that you want to leave our viewers and listeners with, that they can create some change in their life.
I think what will help a lot, get out of the house, turn off your TVs and also computers. Every day, 1 hour minimum outside in the sun, rain, snow. Walk out there, explore why is this planet so beautiful? Why? Because we're just lock ourselves in this houses, but they're like basically boxes. Get out of the box. I'm not saying like, become you, right? Who you are, and outside you can connect basically with really who you are way easier. Take off your shoes, walk in barefoot. Also turn on the Wi-Fi at night when you're sleeping. Like, try and do everything to kind of return back to our roots in many ways. You don't have to eat just fruits all the time. Have a breakfast fruits, and then have like I don't know, salads and like simple, like I recommend always like a low fat, low protein, except if you're really working out crazy, then do add some protein, like those hemp seeds, go for it. Whatever makes you happy, right? But at the same time, like I believe that one thing that is important is disconnecting with nature, because this will help you like really also crave all this like kind of like weird tendencies that we have once we're trapped, in the house, and like watching this fearful news and reading this fearful things. It's just like it starts building in you, it's basically damaging your adrenals, and you're getting all anxious, even if you don't want to. It's subconsciously they're programming you to be this fearful person. So this is one thing. And get together with your friends just outside, not just on Instagram chatting around and being friends. Go out and actually go have like a nice tea, a nice juice together, go and hang out in some juiceries on the beach, in the sea, walk your dogs together, whatever. This social element of like that physical element of us being connected with other people and other nature and other animals, go to animal sanctuary with kids.
It's crucial. I think about the kids too, because as they want permanent social distancing and permanent masks and permanent like I said, as the lightness comes to the planet, as the consciousness awakens, the darkness is going to come back even more in full force, and that's what this is. And we cannot let it happen. It's just that simple. So wherever you are in your home front, wherever you are in the world, you have to do your part, and to be that light and to be the change. And that's what we're all doing right now. And I just want to thank everybody that's listening and watching to just thank you for doing that, because it's not easy. Even simply being vegan, it's not easy right now. It's a very, very dark world out there. There's a lot of very horrible things happening all over the planet. So simply just doing that one thing alone is amazing, and it's definitely going to spark the interest of other people sooner or later. So just keep doing that and keep shining bright, because there's a lot of dark things in this world, and you are that light, that beacon for whoever you come across that path with, to create that change in their life as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not easy. So yes, you're totally right. And have a beautiful day, and actually almost evening over there too.
Yes.
We're getting into the night area now, nighttime, and I can't wait to hear my frogs around here.
Oh,
I have like the
so
most
nice.
unbelievable frogs. So goodbye to you and hello
Goodbye.
to Froggy.
Yes, yes. And just so people can find you on the digital webs, you're at OrangeHealia. Just plug your YouTube and all your stuff.
Yeah, like an orange and heal. They can find me everywhere. Also, you know that I have like this free ethical vegan Dr. Morse inspired group that I can join in and actually learn more about this. I mean, you can find me. It's pretty easy to find me, you know, and you give them one link and they're gonna they can go everywhere else.
Yep.
And thank you again for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you and your family. Keep on going, guys.
Thank you.
We're
You
strong.
too. Yes, we're doing it. Thank you.
We're doing it. Bye. Bye.